Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, dear Skra, how's it going? It's your boy one and only, the leader of Skra 030 Eroktic, and today we're gonna talk about this cycle frontier. My sincerest, deepest apologies for not recording this video when everyone else, but I kinda wanted to take sweet time to learn about the weapons, to learn about the modifications, about the maps, about the PvP, about the PvE, about the quests, about the factions, about the hideout, about everything before I give my final judgment to you, dear Skra army. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. First things first, what is this cycle? If you are following my Twitch channel, you would know that I did play this cycle a year ago, 2 years ago. I do not know how long ago, but you see, the cycle was Battle Royale style of a game before all of this frontier kind of a thing. And there was a lot of things that was familiar to me, and I was like, what the hell, man? Did I play this game, dude? It turns out, yes, I did play it. I played it on my stream. Sadly, I did not record any videos about the game, but yeah, I did play this game, but they completely scrapped that Battle Royale shenanigans out of the game, and they placed a lot of features that Escape from Tarkov has. And yes, this is the first serious direct competitor to the Escape from Tarkov, and I'm hoping that they're not the only ones, because we need that thing. I need that thing. This is the best style of a genre that can exist. Full loot drop, open world PvPvE. Yes, open world PvPvE with the progression, of course. So with that said, it is even better concept than Escape from Tarkov. Open world PvP, by the way. My favorite. What is the goal of the game? It's pretty simple. Getting better loot. You enter inside of the match, whatever you find in that match, if you manage to escape, that loot is gonna belong to you. You can sell it, so you can buy other things, or you can use it for the future matches. And with that said, if you die in that match, you're gonna lose the gear that you had when you enter inside. In the other words, if you kill 3-man team, they lost all of the equipment that they took with themselves inside of the match and gathered inside of the match, and you can take all of that and escape. If you die, you're gonna lose and their gear and your gear, and you're gonna have to re-gear yourself again. Oh, and by the way, if you are a new player, don't worry, you will not have to watch 75 different types of the videos to get started, because developers did an amazing job with implementing a tutorial in the beta game, by the way, to show the new player how to get started. You're gonna learn it all, but for the sole purpose of this video, I'm gonna kinda have to repeat a couple of things that the developers are gonna show you. So with that out of the way, let's talk about Community Hub. Community Hub is the area where you're gonna have to do everything to prepare for the next match. You're gonna build your loadout here, accept the quests, finish the quests, sell items, buy items, you're gonna do it all. Currently, there are 4 different vendors in the game. You have a neutral vendor. This vendor is the starting vendor, pretty much. All of the items that are necessary and that are basic will be bought from that vendor. Which means the first gun, the first medkit, the first armor will be bought from that vendor. And by the way, on level 1, you will be using end armor and helmet. You will use the basic backpack, you will use everything basic. And trust me, those weapons that are on that vendor that you can buy right off the get-go can and will crush even duels. Some of the weapons do need balancing, but I'm gonna keep that out of the way at the moment. But basically, this is your first go-to, and trust me, you will be using that vendor really often. There are also faction vendors, and there are 3 different factions in the game: Ika, Osiris, and Korolev, and each faction vendor has its own unique weapons, and also a couple of other things. And each vendor has its own unique items that is gonna sell you after reaching the certain reputation level with that vendor, which means you cannot buy blue SMG flechette, for example, if you're not level 12 with Osiris. So you're gonna have to grind up the reputation to unlock that gun so you can purchase it, to use it. To grind the reputation, you're gonna need to or sell the items to that vendor, or do the quest, or do both, of course. You have 3 different types of the quests. You have easy, medium and hard. Medium and hard are threshold with level 5 and level 10. And each difficulty is gonna be, of course, more difficult, but it will be more rewarding. I will be making the separate video which factions to upgrade first, so make sure to subscribe with the notifications on, because there is a lot of things that I have to talk about it and I kind of want to keep that out of the way. But yeah, basically you cannot sell anything to the neutral vendor because they kinda made that obvious. It is just better to sell those items to the faction vendors so you can level them up much quicker. You also have your own residence, your personal space, your house pretty much, and you will be upgrading this also. Here you can upgrade your generator. Generator is pretty much your passive income. You're gonna gain Outmoon, I do not know what the hell that is. I'm assuming that that currency is going to be spent for the cosmetics, or I don't know. You will also be generating currency, money. It is pretty much like a Bitcoin farm. And also every 24 hours you will be getting free loot, free loadout pretty much. You will also be upgrading your global stash size. More stash size you have, more items you can put inside of it. And also you will be upgrading your safe pouch. I'm gonna talk about safe pouch a little bit later. In the community hub you also have a crafting station, and you will be using a crafting station a lot. You have really good and meds, and backpacks, and better armor, and better helmet. Pretty much everything minus weapons. Weapons that you can craft in the crafting station, they're just off the charts expensive, and it is gonna take a lot of time to even try to play with that gun, and I do not even wanna talk about killing with that gun. So there are pretty high tier things over there and really necessary things. For example, you cannot purchase a green or blue backpack from the vendor, at least not yet. Right now, currently, we can just craft better backpacks. So you will be using crafting station a lot. So I would strongly encourage you, before you even enter inside of the match, make sure that you know what exactly you need to upgrade your hideout, what exactly you need to finish the quests with the vendors so you can have the progression with their reputation, and what exactly you need for the next crafting so you have better gear for the future matches, for the future raids. With all of that out of the way, let's talk about the UI. I love what they did with the UI so much. When you die, it takes 30 seconds to regear yourself again. It is so fast. There is no downtime at all. You're not gonna spend 75 hours organizing your stash, figuring out what you have, what you don't have, which bullet type you need to use, with what, with refilling, with filling, with nothing, dude. It is so simple, drag and drop. Everything is responsive. Everything works. Everything is simplified, so no matter how new you are to the game, you're gonna clearly understand what the hell is happening in front of you. Developers made amazing job with visual representation of the game. When you're looting, it is clear as day which item is better than which. Because there is a rarity system in the game. You have 5 different rarities. White, green, blue, purple, yellow, aka common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. And if something is green, it is better than white. If something is blue, it is better than green. And so on and so forth. So when you're entering inside of the match and when you're looting, it is clear as day what do you want to take and what do you not want to take. Which item is better than which. The only negative thing about the UI and the management, inventory management, is definitely a lack of hotkeys. There is no hotkeys, dude. You need to drag and drop everything. For example, there is a nice little hefty trick that I like to use when I kill somebody on the open area. Of course, I'm not gonna loot him on the open area. So I'm gonna drop my backpack on the floor, I'm gonna rush his corpse, I'm gonna take his backpack and put it on my character, rush back to my backpack, and then I'm gonna organize everything in the bush or in cover. You cannot double click the backpack so it is automatically equipped. You cannot auto-equip anything, even when you're in the community hub. And also it is annoying for not having a separate hotkey for the grenade throw. It is pissing the living shit out of me. Grenades in this game are consumables like medkits, which means they're going on exactly the same wheel, and you have to manually open the slider or whatever the hell is called to equip the grenade, and you do not know where the grenade is. Like, it is mixed with the consumables, right? So I would like to have grenades and consumables completely separate, and I want to have individual hotkey G for throwing the grenade. I do understand they are probably trying to release this game on consoles. Maybe this game is on the consoles, I don't know, I just don't like it. It's bad. Let's talk about the loadout next. You can carry 2 guns, you can have your backpack, chest armor, helmet, and safe pouch. I'm gonna have to separate this whole loadout thingy in a lot of different sections because there is a lot of things to discuss about the loadout. So, with the first subcategory, we're gonna talk about the weapons. Currently, there is around 30 different weapons in the game, and trust me, each weapon feels unique, it feels special, and you're gonna need to learn how to use that weapon for PvP and for the PvE. Each faction has their own unique weapons, they look completely unique, they feel completely unique, they sound completely unique, you know exactly who is using what gun, what is he capable of with doing with that gun, you know it all. So you're gonna have a lot of fun with experimenting with different guns, with playing with different guns, and it will never get stale and boring and old, you know? By the way, you can also modify your weapons. You can put scopes on it, foregrips, grips, tactical flashlight, different magazines, and so on and so forth. The only weapons that you cannot modify are rusty weapons. Rusty weapons are weapons found inside of the match. It is not just that you cannot put modifications on them, they also have a lowered damage and lowered RPM. So if you are thinking about hatchet running to find the first gun, yes, you can do that, but it is kinda because guns and starting gear, like and armor and all of these starting things, they're really cheap. So trust me, you will have no problems with getting started if you know how to click the head, of course. And also there are different ammo types in the game, and I love what they did with it. I just love it. You don't have to farm armor piercing ammunition so you can fill up your magazine with AP rounds and then the another magazine is for the PvE. No, you have ammo converter modifier on the weapons. If you wanna boost the armor penetration on the certain weapon, you just put armor penetration modifier, and all of the bullets that you fire out of the gun are gonna have AP. If you wanna deal more damage to the mobs, yes, you guessed it, you just put converter that deals more damage to the creatures on the weapon, and then you'll be able to kill creatures much more easier. If you wanna use slugs from shotgun, not buckshots, you just put slug converter on the shotgun. Developers pretty much did everything that they can to speed up the process of you gearing up so you are inside of the match as much as possible and as long as possible. And by the way, all of the items that I'm talking about, they have their own rarity, you know? Like if you're having something that is common, it's gonna be weaker than when you have something that is epic or legendary, you know? Epic armor penetration modifier converter will boost your damage against armor much more than white one, than common one. And by the way, you can equip them and unequip them as much as you want. You can swap them inside of the match, pretty much. Let's talk about protection next. So, like I already said, there are 2 different slots. chest armor and helmet. At the moment it is pretty simple. Each rarity is boosting the armor by 10. White is 10, green is 20, blue is 30, epic is 40, which means if you have a bolt-action sniper rifle that is dealing 15 penetration, it won't deal a full damage against blue helmet, because blue helmet is 20 armor. Everything is so simplified, everything is so easy to understand, you know? Same thing goes with the backpack. The higher rarity the backpack is, more kilos you can carry, more pounds you can carry. And you will wanna have higher quality backpacks to carry more things. By the way, the gear that you're putting inside of your inventory and the pouch, it is not slot locked, it is weight locked, which means you can have 35 million things in your backpack if they carry 0 pounds, 0 kilos, you know? You're not limited by slots, you're limited by weight. And the same thing goes for your safe pouch. It is locked by weight. Although really important note though, global inventory size. In the community hub, that is not weight locked, that is item slot locked. There is a lot of things to talk about the weight system in the game, so let's talk about the weight next. It is a little bit unlogical when you're looking at it from the realistic perspective, but when you're looking at it from the perspective of balancing, they did a good job with it. Let's have two different styles of the backpack. They have no penalty when they're empty, right? Movement speed is not affected, fall damage is not affected, and sound is not affected. In this scenario, both of the backpacks are filled exactly the same percentage, 10%. And both of the backpacks, and 15 out of 150 and 35 out of 350, they have 10% penalty on fall damage, on sound, on movement speed. Which means, despite the fact that both of the backpacks are holding 150 weight, the penalty works different. Small backpack is gonna have 100% penalty, while 350 backpack will have only 42 penalty, which means it is going to be more than twice as better. And like I said, when you're looking at it from the realism, it doesn't work like that. When you're looking at it from the balance, I love it. Because they're forcing you to use better gear, because when you have a purple backpack, you will not go with the goddamn white armor. You're gonna try to get a little bit better armor, a little bit better gun, a little bit better modifications. So the game is pretty snowball effect. The better gear you have, more rewarding it will be. And your goal is to hit that end game as soon as possible to ruffle stomp everyone. One more thing worth of noting is that the gear that you have equipped does not count for this calculation. You're gaining penalty, you're getting penalty only for the items that are inside of your backpack. Let's talk about matchmaking and matches next. There is no matchmaking. There is no matchmaking. You click join match, you're in. Instantly, immediately. No downtime. It's amazing. And the way and the reason why this is working like it works is because the cycle is open world PvP. Each server lasts for 6 hours. You don't have to be inside of that match for 6 hours. As soon as you get deployed, you can extract. You just need to hit the extraction, which means you can stay inside for 5 minutes, if extraction is close to you, of course, or you can stay inside for 6 hours. You will get the notification when the server is shutting down for the full reset, but that is what is creating a cycle. In my opinion, my personal, honest, genuine opinion, better game than the Escape from Tarkov. I'm a big fan of the open world PvPvE games, and Cycle feels like open world PvPvE. Don't get me wrong, I still love Tarkov, but if I can choose in between two different types of the gameplay, do I want to have 45-minute raid timer and extract until 0000 timer hits, or do I wanna get inside of the match and play it as much as I want it? I'm with the Cycle on that one. Like, it is completely changing the feel, the vibe of the game. Escape from Tarkov wants to become open world PvP. They were talking about open world PvPvE in alpha, how on the release everything is going to be connected. That will never happen. So pretty much Tarkov wants to become Cycle. It is not that Cycle is trying to become Tarkov. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It is just amazing how nothing is forcing you to get out. You don't have hydration, you don't have hunger, you don't have to bother with anything. You can play with the pace that fits your style, not somebody else's style. I'm not trying to compare the Cycle and Escape from Tarkov, but on my channel, most of my community is playing or was playing Escape from Tarkov, is subscribed to this channel because of Escape from Tarkov. That's why I'm comparing it. It is just great that you can enter inside, you have no clue where other players are. It can be literally right next to you, or it can be really, really far away. You don't know anything. You deploy, you enter inside of the match, you hide, and you scan. You're listening. You're observing first. You're trying to figure out where you are. You're checking where your extractions are. There is no linear pathing, nothing. You can spawn anywhere on the map. It can be on north, it can be on south, it can be on west, it can be on east, it can be anywhere. And you have two different extractions on the map, and your goal is just to hit that extraction. Every single time when you spawn, you're gonna see and visit different points of interest. Even if they're like really, really high popularity because of the loot locations, you have multiple of those on the maps, and you're gonna always like go different with different routes and different pathings, you know? I don't know how to express myself, man. It is just that good. Oh, and by the way, if you are thinking that if you spawn late, you're gonna have a hard time with finding players, that's not how it works. The reason why you got deployed in that match is because someone in that match or died or extracted, which means you have a map, two guys extract, two new guys come in, or solo and solo, or one duo, and then one guy dies, the another solo comes in. It is a never-ending cycle of random spawns, random extractions, and the map is constantly under the influence of 20 people, 20 players. And by the way, it is extremely difficult to figure out the time of when the server actually did started. When did the server start? And of course, the same thing goes with the loot on the map, with the AI on the map. It is a never-ending cycle, right? Everything has the respawn timer. How the respawn timer works is pretty much when no one is in the area, the loot will respawn. That's how it works pretty much. With one exception, locked rooms. For the locked rooms you need a card, we're gonna talk about that a little bit later, but those rooms, they have their own like limit how often they will respawn, so you cannot abuse it. Other points of interest, you kinda can abuse it. And also, it is not just that when you leave the location the loot respawns. The server, despite the fact that lasts 6 hours, it will have the hard reset of the points of interest that has no players under the storm. We're gonna talk about the storms a little bit later, but when the storm is happening, if no one is in the area, there is gonna be even more loot over there after the storm is done. And how developers combined all of that together, it is creating a perfect game for me. A perfect game. That's how I was visualizing finished version of Escape from Tarkov. Exactly that. Now let's talk about the maps. At the moment there are two different maps that you can play. One is easy mode, one is hard mode. So when you get started, you're gonna start to play the game on the easy map, because all of the quests that you're gonna have to do for those factions to unlock the reputation, to get better gear, will be pretty much on that first map. And there is way less AI threat on that first map. So if you're a new player, if you do not know what the hell you're doing, first map is amazing. Also, the map flow of the first map, it is great. There is no too much of the verticality on the first map. There are some key choke points that you kinda have to be careful when you're passing through, but In general, first map is great. I like the different styles of the biomes, and each biome has its own unique feel and vibe, you know, it's great, it's cool. And you're gonna change your playstyle based on the region where you are, based on the biome where you are. Second map though, it is a little bit trickier. There is way more tougher AI over there. It is gonna be much harder to transition from point A to point B because of the risky and tricky choke points. The map is vertical as hell, and you're gonna have to like be forced to go through the certain alleys so you can climb somewhere. Like, it is way trickier, and to play it and to understand it and to survive it in general, not just because of the AI, like I already said, because there is way more marauders over there than on the first map, but also because of the players, because those players are closing the choke points and you're gonna have a tough times with transitioning from point A to point B. Although for the compensation of the tougher map, the loot feels much more rewarding. You're gonna find and better loot on the second map, and there is more loot in general. So, and quantity and quality is increased on the second map, loot-wise though. I also want to point out that second map, it feels like it is not finished. It feels like or map was designed for a different style of a game, or it is unfinished, or I don't know what, but second map is not that good. It is annoying as hell, and the reason why it is annoying is because it seems like you will never ever spawn on the east side of the map. You see, this is how the map looks like, and this is your transition. Which means if you want to go from here to here, you need to go all the way around through all of the cheeky, risky choke points. And when you hit that destination, you have to go all the way back, which is not good. And the second thing is, it seems like players never spawn on this part of the map. They always spawn here on the west. And if you again have 20 people on the second map, the density of the people is just way too big on one part of the map than on the second part of the map. I would really like to hear from developers' point of view what are their plans for the second map, because it is just not good. There is a mining in the game, there are like different ores, different veins all over the place that are gonna give you nice hefty amount of the cash. If you're selling those mats, you also need those for crafting. You can of course PvP, gather the resources, the loot to upgrade your things, to finish the quests of course, doing the quests of course. Like I was already saying, there are locked rooms with the keycards. There are also dynamic events on the map, storms and meteor showers. Here's a big boy. Here's a big boy. Shoot me in the face! In the face! Meteor showers are dynamic event that whole server sees, whole server knows where that meteor shower landed. If somebody manages to loot that meteor core and extract, he's rich by almost 11,000 of currency. And also there is the storm, the actual storm, where evacuation is disabled, which means you have to sit out for the 5 minutes through the storm. The world is changing its look, the compass goes crazy. You can also get special items with killing creatures during the storm, or with collecting certain plants during the storm. And also certain points of interest have their own puzzles. You kind of have to figure out the puzzle, where the batteries are and where to put those batteries to remove the force fields, and when you're done with the puzzle, the locked room will unlock and you will be rewarded, of course, with the loot inside. There is a lot of things to talk about, all of those different things that I just mentioned, and I do not wanna drag this video way too long, so I will be creating the guides and tutorials and showcases of all of those different things that I just mentioned in my future videos, so make sure to subscribe. It is time to talk about a big elephant in the room: audio. Like, I'm Escape from Tarkov player. Escape from Tarkov has the trashiest audio I've ever witnessed, because you do not hear footsteps, you don't hear gunshots, you don't know where people are, you don't know anything. Cycle is not like Escape from Tarkov. At least you hear footsteps, you know? At least you hear gunshots. But from where? Yeah, that's the problem. From where? I have no clue. You're gonna have exactly the same volume of a guy walking directly above you, directly underneath you, and directly next to you. But verticality is not the only problem. The distance is another problem. One time you're gonna hear a guy shooting pistol in the distance, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy is like, I don't know, 300 meters away, because you're catching up to him, you're catching up to the sound. And then next time, you're in the cave mining and you hear exact same sound and you're thinking it's further away, but it is actually not. It is literally outside of the cave. Something is off, but it is almost impossible to figure out where the hell people are. They can be above you, they can be underneath you, they can be behind the hill, they can be behind 3 hills, they can be anywhere. At least you hear them, don't get me wrong. But directional sound and vertical and horizontal, it is just not good. And there is one more thing that I would like to see in the game. It is unstuck button. It would be really good if developers implement some kind of a way to unstuck. At the moment, you cannot reconnect in the match. If you alt F4, you cannot reconnect anymore. So if you stuck somewhere in the rock or under the rock or next to the tree or whatever, you're dead pretty much. You cannot do anything about it. So I would really like to see some kind of a unstuck feature function in the game, so we don't lose that only backpack that we have on us. That is really beneficial if we have it, and it would be really crappy if we lose it. But in general, despite the fact of the bugs, it is definitely my favorite game to play. You can definitely expect more content from me on this channel about the cycle. I love the game. I love the vision of the developers. Please take this video as a grain of salt, because this is the review of beta version of the game. The full release of the game will be in Q1 2022. The game will be free to play, and all of the things that I just mentioned are a subject to change. Love you all. Thank you all for watching, and see you in the next one. Eroktic out.